Right, in this video we're going to look at solving quadratics by completing the square first of all. Now this comes after we've tried to do, or we have completed, double bracket and the difference of two square factorisation. We've completed that. But the answers to this next bit, looking at completing the square, will involve a solution that is not an integer or a whole number. We're going to have a decimal solution. So let's look at the first one. Solving quadratics by completing the square. Right, here's the question. Solve x squared minus 6x plus 7 equals 0. Now what we see from that straight away is this bit here. Now, we have to use some common sense here. And we already know that if we turn that into a single quadratic bracket, we would actually get x squared minus 6x plus 9. So the only bit that we don't want is the plus 9. So we use our common sense now, and we need to cancel that plus 9. And we can cancel that by introducing a minus 9 there. And that will allow us to cancel that plus 9. Now the question then says, if you look closely, we then add 7, and that is equal to 0. So what we do now, we're going to tidy up this bit. And that gives us x minus 3 all squared minus 2 equals 0. Let's add 2 to both sides. And that will give us that. Now let's square root both sides. So that removes the square on the left, and that gives us a square root of 2. Now you've got to remember that when you square root a number, it has positive and negative solutions, so we have to show that. And now if we add 3 to both sides, we get x equals 3 plus or minus the square root of 2. Now that answer is in surd format, which is perfectly acceptable. And from that, we can get two solutions. And the solutions on a calculator would be x equals 3 plus root 2. That would give me one solution. And the other solution for x would be 3 take away the value for root 2. And that is how we solve a quadratic by completing the square. So let's look at a few questions. Now at this point now you need to press pause on your video. And in about 10 seconds you'll see the answers. I would recommend that you do the green highlighted questions first to get used to it, and then move down to an orange or a red question thereafter. Here are the answers. We're now going to move on to the final topic, or the final objective, and we can use a quadratic formula to solve a quadratic equation. Right, my equation to solve is x squared plus 6x plus 2 equals 0. And you can see in green, I've highlighted the coefficient of the x squared, the x, and the integer. And I've written those answers in red. And I'm going to call them A for the coefficient of the x squared, B for the coefficient of the x, and C for the number on its own. Now these all go in to a big formula, and the formula is here. Now you don't have to learn it, but it's not that difficult to learn, and it will appear on an exam paper at the start. So all we're going to do now is substitute these values of A, B and C into the quadratic formula. So here we go. So the formula says x equals, it's the negative value of b, well, b is 6, so that's negative 6, plus or minus, open the square root and make this quite long. I'm going to square the b, which is 36. I'm going to subtract 4 lots of a times c. Well, a times c is 2, times 4 is 8. And then I'm going to divide the whole lot by 2 lots of a, in this case is 2. Now let's tidy that up. So x equals minus 6 plus or minus the square root of 28, all divided by 2. Now at this point now you're going to need your calculator and you're going to have to work out the square root of 28. Now just work this out. So tidying up now, so minus 6 plus or minus, well the square root, you need to quote this to at least 4 decimal places. So it's 5.2915, and I rounded that 4th decimal place, and then I'm going to divide the whole lot by 2. Now once again I have 2 possible answers. So the first answer is minus 11.2915 halved, and the other answer is minus 0.7085, again remembering to halve it. So let's now halve these, and these will give me the 2 solutions for x. So these have suddenly appeared. I've worked these out for you, and as you can see I've rounded each one to 1, 2, 3 significant figures. 1, 2, 3. And there you have it. They're my 2 solutions using the quadratic formula.